in my heart. I desire the dust of your holy feet in every birth I may take. Please consider Narottama yours and be kind upon him. I desire the dust of your holy feet in every birth I may take. Please consider Narottama yours and be kind upon him. Hare Krishna. Very beautiful meaning.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. With this, let us start with the today's session. I'll start with the invocation prayers. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं त्वजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशा कल्पतरुभ्य च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्य वैष्णवेभ्य नमो नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जयतां सुरतोपङ्गोर्मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्बुजौ राधामदनमोहनौ दिव्याद् बृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमः श्रीमद्रत्नाङ्गर सिंहासनस्थितौ श्रीमद् राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ पृष्ठालिविसेव्यमानौ स्मरामि श्रीमान रासरसारंभी वंशी वटतटस्थित कर्षण वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तु नः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. Now we will offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नमने गौरतिसनम. O most magnificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing the pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Bannam Tisa Krishnam Sangopangastra Parthadam Yagge Sankirtana Prayer Ejayanti Sumedhasaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. नाना शास्त्र विचारण कै निपुणौ सद्धर्म संस्थापकौ लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मान्य शरण्याकरौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद भजना आनंदेन मत्तालिकौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालकौ. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are loved all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। Well, till now we are studying about Srinivasa Acharya. We have seen how Srinivasa Acharya was born due to desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all things connected to his birth. Then we the last time we also saw how Nityananda Prabhu got married. Now, before we go on to Srinivasa Acharya taking initiation from Jannava Mata, let us study something from Chaitanya Bhagavata regarding the birth of Virachandra Prabhu and disappearance of Nityananda Prabhu, because Virachandra Prabhu, he will also be referred many times in this discourse. Now, as we know, Nityananda Prabhu, who is none different from Krishna, who is none different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he enjoyed his unlimited and inconceivable pastimes at Ambika Kalna. And in spite of so many pastimes, nobody could recognize him. Now, one thing, Nityananda Prabhu, he always thought, I would build an ashrama at Khadadaha to follow the orders of my Lord, and I'll open up a marketplace for distributing the holy names of the Lord. He was thinking like this. And now, after contemplating in this way, Nityananda Prabhu, he went to Khadadaha to manifest his pastimes there, and he followed the principles of a household life and manifested the service of the deity Sri Chamasundara. Now, Jandhava Mata and Sri Vasudha, they constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. The Lord had empowered them with his energies, internal energies, and he enjoyed various pastimes with both his consorts and fulfilling their heartful desires. Now, the happiness what Jannava Mata and Vasudha Mata got, it knew no bounds, for they had Nityananda Prabhu as their husband. Now, both had prayed to the Lord's lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya that Lord Nityananda would be their husband birth after birth. Now, what happened on an auspicious day at an auspicious time and during the most auspicious junction of the stars, fortunate Vasudha bore a son who was as bright as the moon, and the people of the three worlds floated in an ocean of bliss, chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, Lord Hari, and the various personalities in the heavenly planets and on earth. They glorified Vasudha for having such a beautiful child. And he was born on the fourth day in the bright fortnight of the moon in the month of January. And Vasudha gave birth to this child after keeping him in the womb for 15 months. And it was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Gaurachandra who manifested as Veerachandra Prabhu, that is son of Vasudha or son of Nityananda Prabhu. Please remember this thing. This is the greatness of Veerachandra Prabhu and what he did, how he carried out the Lord's task of Sankirtana movement. This we will see later on. Now, those who never saw Gaurachandra were able to see Veerachandra in his form, and they were very happy. And this most wonderful, enchanting child enjoyed numerous childhood pastimes as he grew up. Then one day, while Lord Nityananda was sitting in the courtyard, Abhirama arrived. And Abhirama, please remember, he is in Krishna Lila, he is known as Sridhama. Sridhama, the one of the most confidential friends of the Lord Krishna. And let us see what happened after that. Now, Nityananda Prabhu, he started talking to him. Then Abhirama sweetly said to Nityananda that I have heard that you have got a son. Let me see him. I want to offer my obeisances to him, because he also knew that he is none different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, Nityananda Prabhu, he answered that you know everything. I do not know who has come as my son. He is not trying to disclose. Now, Nityananda Prabhu and Abhirama, they mostly communicated with each other with gestures and postures. And out of love and affection, they embraced one another and they cried. Now, when Vasudha heard that Abhirama had come, she thought, I do not know what plan Krishna has. I have heard lately that any deity Abhirama offers obeisances to immediately cracks. Now the child Virachandra was lying on a wooden cot, holding a colorful piece of cloth onto his chest, and his eyes were half closed, so that it appeared as if lotus petals were trapping the bumblebees in the evening. Now the mark of black ointment on his eyes extended to his ears, and his forehead was marked with a dot of cow dung, and his curly hair was tied in a top knot. And whoever saw him wanted to keep him within his heart. Now Abhirama came and looked at the child without blinking his eyes. He felt as if his eyes were being smeared with an ointment of nectar. He was so blessed to see the child, and the sight of the child calmed his entire body. And the child lying on his cot appeared like a morning sun, and he had a raised nose and a beautiful forehead. His arms were long and his chest was broad. His two lotus feet we bore the signs of an exalted personality, and it defeated the beauty of full moon. And upon seeing the child, Abhirama became very, very happy. He went near his feet and offered obeisances 3 times. The Lord, in the form of a sleeping child, then woke up from his yoga nidra and began to smile. He began licking his feet just like an ordinary child. And Abhirama repeatedly offered his obeisances and then circumambulated the child. And with great joy, he began to chant the holy names of Lord Hari. And he played his flute and horn before the child and then came out from the room. Now, Nityananda Prabhu respectfully offered Abhirama a place to sit down, and Abhirama was decorated with a peacock feather and gunja mala or gunja bead garland. He wore earrings shaped like fish and thin bangles on his wrist. He had a waistband with bells and anklets on his feet, and his complexion was the color of ketaki flower, and he was strongly built. And he was the eternally perfect cowherd boy Sridama, the son of King Brisabhanu and the brother of Srimati Radharani. Now he has appeared as Abhirama in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Then he stayed at the house of the Lord for one night, then joyfully departed to other places the next morning. Now, Veerachandra Prabhu would often reveal himself during his childhood pastimes, and thus he gave immense pleasure to Lord Nityananda. Advaita Acharya came from Santipura, and after seeing the child, he concluded that a child born in the house of a thief will naturally be a thief. But how to catch this thief? Now, Advaita Acharya was naturally expert in speaking riddles, only one he favors can understand his words. And after circling the child, Advaita Prabhu returned to Santipura, and all the Vaishnavas visited the child and then returned to their homes. Now, Veerachandra Prabhu continually enjoyed his attractive childhood pastimes. It is not possible to describe these pastimes of this great personality. He always wore anklets on his feet and a tiger's claw tied on a chain around his neck. And this made a very, very beautiful combination. There is no difference between the pastimes of Veerachandra and Gorachandra. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Gosai is the fountainhead of all incarnations. His brother Nityananda Prabhu is but another body of Chaitanya. Lord Nityananda constantly lamented in separation from Chaitanya, and very seldom did he regain his external consciousness. And he used only for the discussion of topics about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he constantly meditated on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and with his body, mind, and speech. And he always sang loudly about the glories of Lord Chaitanya. And he remained in Khadadaha for some time. Then he saw the deity of Lord Syamasundara and Gauranga. And one day, Nityananda Prabhu entered his temple room and disappeared. And after some time, he reappeared and came out from the deity room. He then took Vasudha and Jannava and left Khadadaha. And from there, he went to Ekachakra, where he saw Lord Bankarai. And after staying at Ekchakra for a few days, the Lord entered the temple of Bankerai and merged within the deity. That's how he disappeared from this material world. And all the Vaishnavas became overwhelmed by separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And somehow or the other, their lives did not depart because of the presence of Veerachandra. Veerachandra Prabhu became very, very restless in separation from the Lord, and he could sit alone. He would sit alone and contemplate. Now, what will I do? Where will I go? I am completely confused. The Lord disappeared, leaving me alone. The Lord, the Master of the fallen souls, had left us drowning in an ocean of separation. Now all the devotees, they cried in lamentation and repeatedly fell unconscious. They constantly chanted the name of the Supreme Lord Hari, and they lamented, our life is totally useless. Then the devotees cried and rolled on the ground in the dust, and hearing the news of Lord's disappearance, all the people of Nadia came to Ekchakra. They became terribly distressed, being unable to see the Lord, that is the Lord Nityananda, and they also held their heads and cried. And all the local devotees who were from that place, they cried continuously. And everyone, including children, elderly, women, men, everybody, they cried in separation from Nityananda Prabhu. And at that time, the atheists, they were thinking that we'll no longer have to see this Nityananda who used to trouble us so much. He used to preach the name of the Lord, and we did not like. And now that he has gone out from this world, we are very, very happy. Now, let us then see, go again to Prema Vilasa. Now, I was telling this story from Chaitanya Bhagavata. Now, we'll again start Prema Vilasa about Srivasacharya, how he meets Jannava Mata, and how then he goes to Vrindavan. This is very, very important. Now, please hear with attention how Srinivasa Acharya became happy upon reaching Khadadaha. He came to Khadadaha, And indeed, Srinivasa, he danced with joy as soon as he arrived there, because at that time Veerachandra Prabhu was sitting with his mother, that is Jannava Mata, and suddenly he felt shivering throughout his body. Then Jannava Mata said, "My dear son, I think that an exalted personality, exalted devotee has arrived. It must be Srinivasa of Chakhandi. Otherwise, why would you suddenly have a manifestation of transcendental ecstasy in your body? I hear the names of Sri Radha and Sri Krishna being chanted everywhere, and this is certainly by Srinivasa's influence, because he has appeared simply to distribute love of God in this material world. And what my Lord once said, I now remember: go outside and see who has come. Now, just then, Isana, he arrived to inform Jannava Mata that a wonderful young boy was standing on his doorstep crying. And when Veerachandra Prabhu saw Srinivasa, he was captivated by his exceptional beauty, and he was absorbed in the ecstatic love of God. And Srinivasa repeatedly offered his obeisances to Veerachandra Prabhu, and Veerachandra Prabhu lifted him up and embraced him lovingly, and he asked his name. Then Srinivasa Acharya said, "My name is Srinivasa, and I am the most unfortunate person." Then Virachandra Prabhu said, "Come, my friend, I am happy to meet you. The Almighty Lord has sent me a most precious jewel." And then Virachandra took Srinivasa inside the house to meet Janava Mata, who had been anxiously waiting to meet her guest. And as soon as she saw Srinivasa, she felt her affection overflowing, and her remembrance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu intensified. And she sighed heavily, and she chanted Navadvipa, Chaitanya, Nityananda, like this. Then Veerachandra Prabhu said that here is your servant Nivasa. Please bestow love of God to him. He is on his way to Vrindavan. Please give him your blessings so that he arrives in Vrindavan very safely. And if he meets too many obstacles on the way, he may not arrive in time to see the lotus feet of Rupa and Sanatana. And then Jannava Mata, she said that, my dear child, uh, proceed quickly to Vrindavana and bring back the books written by Goswamis, and take shelter of the lotus feet of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Later on, we'll read how he meets Gopala Bhatta Goswami. And Veerachandra then gave Srinivasa some prasada from Jannava Mata and encouraged him to honor the prasadam. And while honoring the prasada, Srinivasa was filled with transcendental happiness, and he was intoxicated with ecstatic bliss, ecstatic love for the Godhead. And after Janava Mata sent Srinivasa to see Virama Thakura, she gave Srinivasa a letter to deliver, in which she requested the Thakura to beat Srinivasa at least 3 times with his all auspicious whip. With great reluctance, Srinivasa and Isana bade farewell to Jannava Mata and Veerachandra and started for Abhirama's home. Now, when they arrived, Isana introduced Srinivasa to Abhirama and handed him the letter. And Abhirama was glad to meet Srinivasa, who offered his obeisances to him. And Abhirama thought that Janava Mata had sent me this boy so that I'll beat him with my whip. But first I must see whether he's qualified or not. Let me give him 8 coins and see what he does with them. If this behavior satisfies me, I'll beat him with my whip. Then Abhirama then gave Srinivasa the 8 coins and instructed him to buy cooking ingredients so that he could prepare his own lunch. Now Srinivasa, he bought dal, rice, spices from the merchants, and then he went to a nearby water reservoir to cook. And in the meantime, Abhirama called 2 devotees and told them go where Srinivasa is cooking and pose as guests and arrive just after he has finished cooking and ask him to provide you with lunch. Now the two devotees, they arrived as instructed and requested Srinivasa to feed them. And Srinivasa was gratified to see them. He said, your coming here is my good fortune. You are Vaishnavas and I am an insignificant fallen soul, and I'll be very glad to serve you both. Then Srinivasa then divided the food into two so that the devotees could eat to their full satisfaction. And after eating, the devotees returned to Abhirama and said that Srinivasa has fed us rice that was as wonderful as nectar. And although there is no vegetable preparation, the food was very, very wonderful. We are totally satisfied. We think that Sri Radha and Krishna must have tested this rice. And Abhirama was pleased by the devotee's report. He immediately called for Isana and said that quickly bring Srinivasa to me. Today I'll bestow love of God upon him as Sri Jannava Mata has desired. Now Abhirama then had his whip ready, and as soon as Srinivasa offered his obeisances, Abhirama began to beat him. And after hitting him 3 times with his whip, Srinivasa was filled with ecstatic love of God. And just then Malini, Malini Devi is wife of Srivas Pandita. She arrived and caught hold of Abhirama's hand, saying that do not beat him anymore. This Brahmana son has certainly been empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Malini then took Srinivasa by the hand and affectionately led him into the house. And Srinivasa remained there overnight. The next morning, when he was about to leave, Malini said that, dear Srinivasa, immediately go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Gopala Bhatta Goswami's lotus feet. Meet Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Lokanath Goswami, and directly experience the renunciation of Raghunatha Das Goswami exhibits. It is difficult to understand how Lord Chaitanya bestows his mercy. Through you, he will inundate the entire country with love of God. And Narahari Thakura must be waiting your arrival eagerly. So you should see him before you leave for Vrindavana. Then Srinivasa Acharya, he fell at the feet of Malini Devi and began to cry. He said that please give me permission so that I can always remain at your lotus feet. And although I am the most fallen soul, you have shown me great mercy, and I am sure that all my desires will be fulfilled. I am just a young boy and do not know the way to Vrindavan. How shall I proceed? Then she said that, my dear boy, you do not know who you are. You have been favored by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Moreover, my blessings are with you. Don't worry, you will not face any difficulty while traveling to Vrindavan. Then Srinivasa Acharya offered his obeisances to Malini and left, chanting Gaurahari's holy name. And soon he arrived in the house of Narahari Thakura. And after, please remember, this Narahari Thakura is different from Narahari Sarkar Thakura. Now, after telling the Thakura about everything that had happened to him, Srinivasa then honored the prasada with great joy. Then his meal finished. Then Narahari Thakur said that you should go to Vrindavan for because all your desires will be fulfilled there. Do not delay any longer before you begin your journey. However, take your mother's permission. Now, later that evening, Srinivasa went to his mother and told her everything what had happened to him since he had left home. And as soon as his mother heard him mentioning Vrindavana, she got drowned in an ocean of distress, fearing separation from her son. Then she thought that the Supreme Lord has taken away my husband, and now only my son is there. Now he wants to take him away also. Thus, I'll be alone without any support, and he is so cruel to me. Then Lakshmi Priya said, she also blessed him, saying that, my dear son, don't get afraid to lose your mother. Uh, how can you be so merciless to leave me like this? And how will I be able to stay at home without you? Then Srinivasa was moved by his mother's pathetic cry. He tried to solace her in various ways. He said that, my body belongs to you. I could never repay your debt. Now I do not know what to do. Kindly give me permission so that I may go to Vrindavana with a peaceful mind. And if you stop me from going to Vrindavana, I will surely die. And speaking back and forth this way, Srinivasa and his mother spent the entire night without sleeping. Then in the meantime, in Vrindavana, Rupa Goswami was unhappy because Srinivasa Acharya had not arrived, and he was distressed by intense feeling of separation from Sanatan Goswami, who had already departed. And he started crying, and he went to Sanatan Goswami's samadhi and lamented that Srinivasa has not yet come. He then went to Sri Jiva Goswami, who was staying with some devotees by the river Yamuna. And as soon as they saw Rupa Goswami, they all offered their obeisances to him, and he reciprocated by embracing them. He said that, you are all living here without any anxiety. And Rupa Goswami said that, I am worried about Srinivasa. I know that he has begun his journey to Vrindavana, but I anxiously wait his arrival. He has appeared in this world for a specific purpose, to take our writings to Bengal and to share them with the devotees there. I feel very much separated from him. Perhaps we should travel to Bengal, but I know that none of you are interested in going there. And I told Jiva Goswami that, I tell you truthfully, the last night Srinivasa started his journey from Yajigrama. Kindly keep this in mind and tell me when he arrives in Vrindavan. Now, everyone was very, very happy to hear Rupa Goswami's this news. And it was true that Srinivasa had managed to pacify his mother there so that he could go to Vrindavana. And these things actually cannot be described. Then what happened, many days later, he reached Patna and then Varanasi. And in Varanasi, there he went to take bath in the bathing ghat where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had once taken bath. He offered his obeisances to this ghata, and then took bath in the Ganges. And Chandrasekhar Acharya's house was just to the north of this ghata. And Srinivasa went to see the beautiful spot just to the left of the entrance where Sanatan Goswami arrived as a mendicant with a hope to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and a tulasi plant was growing in that place. So Srinivasa offered his obeisances to Tulasi Devi and then went into the up to the house. When he saw an old Vaishnava inside, he immediately offered his obeisances, and the Vaishnava respectfully greeted Srinivasa Acharya and inquired from him about his identity. And Srinivasa told him about him. And then the Vaishnava was glad to meet Srinivasa, and he said that Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya is my spiritual master. I live here by his order, because this is his house where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once lived. I have been ordered to stay here and serve him. Now, Srinivasa, he circumambulated the house and then offered his obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sitting place inside the house. And he was overwhelmed with ecstasy and began to cry and roll on the ground. And he uttered very prominently O cruel providence, why you have taken away Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from this material world? Why I have taken birth just after he has left this world? And I am so sinful that I was not born at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was present, and therefore I have been not able to see him. As he lamented this way, Srinivasa's feeling of separation from the Lord increased. And this Vaishnava, he was very much pleased to see all these ecstatic symptoms and affectionately gave him prasada. Then the two then spent the night discussing Krishna Katha. Then the next morning, Srinivasa bade farewell to the old Vaishnava and continued his journey toward Vrindavan. And 2 days later, he arrived in Prayag, where he took bath at the confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. And the next day, as he was walking along the road, a rich, pious man gave him 4 coins. And Srinivasa spent these coins to maintain himself for the next 2 days. And when he asked people how long it would take him to go to Vrindavan, he was told that he had about 14 more days to travel. And on one of the days, Srinivasa had taken bath at a nearby well, and he was resting beneath a tree. And five Brajavasis, they arrived there and sat down next to him. And Srinivasa offered them water to wash their feet. And after they were comfortably seated, Brajavasis took some good and chickpeas from their bag and offered them to Srinivasa, who ate them with relish. And then they began to discuss Nilachala and Bengal. And one of the Brajavasis said that there are many exalted devotees living in Vrindavana, such as Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and the two Bhatta Goswamis, then Loknath Goswami, Bhugar Goswami, Jiva Goswami. Did you hear that about 4 months ago Sanatan Goswami disappeared from the world? He gave this news. Then Srinivasa was ecstatic to hear this the names of these great exalted Vaishnavas, and he offered his obeisances to them in his heart. And eager to see them, he started walking toward Vrindavana. And soon he arrived in Agra, and after passing through Agra, he left the main road, turning right, and walked straight to Gokula. He then crossed the Yamuna river and arrived at Nanda Maharaja's house. There, Srinivasa very humbly offered his obeisances and took darshana of the deities and the holy place there, staying and he stayed there overnight. And the next morning, he arrived at Mathura. Now, Lord Krishna's birthplace he visited, and again he offered his obeisances many times and nice prayers. And as he visited the various places, Lord Krishna's pastimes in Mathura, Srinivasa he shivered due to his feelings of ecstatic love, and tears rolled down from his eyes. Then he saw Mathura's extraordinary beauty. He concluded that Mathura was superior to Vaikuntha as the Shastra states. But Srinivasa was astonished to see the behavior of the Mathura Vasis. They sang the Lord's glories constantly. Next, he visited Visramaghata, the place where Krishna rested after killing Kamsa, and he offered his obeisances to this holy place. And then he took some water from the Yamuna and sprinkled it on his head. And as Srinivasa was sitting at Visramaghata, feeling satisfied to be in the Dhama, he overheard the conversation of three Brajavasis. They said that we are so fortunate because the exalted personalities have recently departed from this world. First, Sanatan Goswami disappeared from our vision, and just a few days later, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami left. Now, Sri Rupa Goswami has left us. Now, as soon as he heard this terrible news, Srinivasa condemned himself and the most unfortunate person. But he went to the Brajavasis and asked them to personally tell him about Rupa Goswami's departure. Now Srinivasa then left Visramaghata and started from Vrindavana. He walked throughout half the night. Then he sat down under a tree, lamenting that I am unable to describe. We are actually not able to describe how Srinivasa Acharya would have felt the lamentation after the departure of the Goswamis from there. And with this, let us have a 5 minutes break, and thereafter we'll start with the story how Srinivasa Acharya receives initiation and instruction from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Hare Krishna. I hope the story is getting clearer now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Very wonderful, Prabhu. Can
And
visualize all the pastimes. Very nice.
and the best part of story is coming. Next time I'll tell you how he takes the books and how they get lost and all those things.
Yeah.
But before that, we'll also know about Bhogarabha Goswami and Lokanath Goswami. What is their contribution to the Vaishnava? As you know, these two were the first ones to be sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan to find out the lost places in Vrindavan. They are very, very wonderful stories. Thank you very much.
प्रभु जी चैतन्य भागवत which खंड? अंत्य खंड? आपने जो नित्यानंद प्रभु की स्टोरी की
Nityananda Prabhu, I think I'm not remembering which khanda, but I think chapter 16 or so. I'll let you know. I'll let
हाँ
you know.
प्रभु क्योंकि अभी अभी तक हम नहीं आए हैं वो चैप्टर पे आए नहीं है दैट्स
Okay,
व्हाई
okay, okay, okay,
हाँ
okay.
हम लोग ने अंत्य खंडा कंप्लीट किया मध्य खंड पे है अभी तो
Okay.
आई थिंक नहीं आदि खंड किया मध्य खंड
हाँ,
अभी मुझे लगता है आपका ये
Madhya.
अंत्य खंड होगा शायद
Yeah, that is Chaitanya Bhagavata is also a very, very long, very elaborate literature.
यस प्रभु जी
And the beauty is that these acharyas, they have written such books. There are no common thing. The same thing has not been described. Maybe certain things mentioned only, but the different authors, they have described different aspects of Lord Chaitanya's, Lord Nityananda's pastimes. They have not repeated. There was no competition, transcendental competition amongst the authors at that time. This is very, very clear. And there is another thing, once I go back to Bhubaneswar after some time, I am thinking of starting the series of Ramayana also. The various important incidents, stories from Ramayana, and what we can learn from them. That will start after some time. Then I was thinking, if you read the Gita Mahatmya and the Bhagavat Mahatmya is given in Padma Purana and the other Puranas, there is one injunction for the devotees that we should try to recite at least one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, one verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita every day, if not one half a verse, and if not half a verse, one fourth of a verse. That is what is given. So what I was thinking, after the kirtan, every time we can recite certain verses from the Bhagavad Gita along with the meanings, just straight simple meanings given by Srila Prabhupada and the verses, so that we get acquainted to the Bhagavad Gita also, because Bhagavad Gita, as you know, that is the basic of all our learning. Then comes Srimad Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is at a little higher level. So from tomorrow onwards, we can start that. And to begin with, I can recite the first few verses. What we'll do, we'll recite the verses from 1 onwards, from chapter 1. We'll go up to chapter 18. Let us see when chapter 18 finishes. say about 8-10 verses per session. It may take a few months, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
What do you think about
Sure,
that?
Prabhuji. Sure,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
I recite daily.
Okay,
Some
very nice,
sloks.
very
Yes,
nice.
Prabhuji.
I have been reciting at least a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita for last about 15 years.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, it is very nice to hear from
Very nice
yeah,
to
about the
recite the-
Ramayana also, Prabhuji. We are so eagerly want to hear about Ramayana
Yes.
also.
Yes, Ramayana, there are certain things which are not known to very many people. The various intricacies, basically, I'll be depending on
प्रभु जी
the.
एक्चुअली जैसे भक्ति शास्त्री वगैरह क्लासेस होते हैं ऐसे रामायण की भी होनी चाहिए स्टडी वाइज क्योंकि बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है ना दैट्स व्हाई जैसे हम लोग भागवतम का भक्ति वैभव करते हैं भक्ति शास्त्री तो रामायण का भी ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए स्टडी फ्यूचर में तो बहुत ही मतलब इंटरेस्टिंग है
I'll be using the writings of Subhavilas Das. His Ramayana series, they are very, very famous and very popular also.
If we
Well,
start, Prabhuji, it will be very, very, very interesting. लगता है कि जल्दी शुरू हो.
okay, I'll try to start them as soon as possible, but it will take about 1.5 months at least from now, because that will depend on my going back to Bhubaneswar. Then
Okay, Prabhuji.
I'll also prepare. Then we'll
Yes,
start.
प्रभु
Yes,
जी
प्रभु जी.
एक क्वेश्चन है प्रभु जी भगवत गीता के श्लोकों को रिसाइट करना है तो मतलब फ्रॉम फर्स्ट श्लोका टू कंटिन्यू पूरा फुल चैप्टर ऐसा करना कि इम्पोर्टेंट श्लोका लेना है
नहीं, all 100%.
ओके डन
100%. All the 700 slokas. Let us see how many sessions they take.
यस प्रभु जी
Yes,
सो नाइस
yes, Prabhuji.
Well, we'll begin from where we left. Now we'll see Srinivasa Acharya, how he receives his initiation from Janava Mata and how he takes instructions from Gopal Bhatta Goswami at Vrindavan. Please listen as I describe about the devotees who are in Vrindavan. Now, Srinivasa Acharya was unable to sit still as he lamented because the three acharyas they had departed. When he started his journey, they were there. He wanted to meet them, but by the time he reached, they had departed from this material world. Therefore, he was affected by lamentation, and sometimes he rolled on the ground like a madman and feeling intense separation from Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and he condemned himself for not having received their darsana. He said, I could not have the darsana of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Nilachala, nor I could study Srimad Bhagavatam under the care of Gadadhar Pandita because he also had departed. Then Narahari Sarkar, Vishnu Priya Devi, Janava Mata, they ordered me to go to Vrindavan and meet Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, but all my efforts have gone in vain, for I could not meet them. I must have committed many, many offenses. That's why this has happened to me. I left my home to take shelter of Vrindavan, but where will I now find shelter? My life has become completely useless. I can neither see nor take shelter at the lotus feet of Gopal Bhatt Goswami. There is nothing more to hope for this life. If I am fortunate, perhaps in my next life I'll attain the lotus feet of the Goswamis, and many others received such fortune because they took shelter of the devotional service and are now floating in an ecstatic ocean of love. And I am bereft of that fortune. However, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are my lords, and even though I have not met them, and absorbed in these thoughts, Srinivasa he laid down beneath a tree and his entire body became motionless, and his breathing also slowed. Then he appeared as if he might die. And seeing him in such a pathetic condition, Rupa and Sanatana, they appeared to him in dream. They said, "Arise, Srinivasa, and look at us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has sent you here, and you were certainly dear to us. We waited for you to come for a long time. Don't think about returning to Bengal right now. Rather go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Gopal Bhatt Goswami, and all your desires will be fulfilled. Know for certain that Gopal Bhatt Goswami's mercy on you is always our mercy on you. And we have discussed about you with Jiva Goswami, and you may study our books under his guidance." Now Srinivasa, he slowly opened his eyes, and to his great astonishment, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were standing before him. He quickly got up and offered his obeisances, and he was amazed by their beauty. And they both emanated radiant health, and their complexions were golden, and they had beautiful sikhas on their heads, and their forehead was decorated with tilaka. Their entire bodies were decorated with the markings of Sri Radha Krishna's holy name, and they wore loincloth and chadars, and they had tulsi beads around their necks, and their transcendental bodies were fragrant, and they constantly chanted the names of Radha and Krishna, and their teeth resembled the buds of kunda flowers, and their smiles were almost enchanting. And as soon as Srinivasa Acharya he saw the two Goswamis, his distress disappeared, and he found himself floating in a pool of transcendental bliss and falling into the ground in ecstasy. The two Goswamis then mercifully placed their lotus feet on his head, and thereafter they disappeared from the scene. Now Rupa Goswami had already instructed Jiva Goswami to take full responsibility for Srinivasa when he arrives in Vrindavana. He had also instructed Gopal Bhatt Goswami to bestow his mercy on Srinivasa so that he could fulfill Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Now, when Srinivasa regained external consciousness, he thought, what will I do now? Let me go to Vrindavan. Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami are the lords of the poor and fallen souls, and Gopal Bhatt Goswami is my life and soul, and Jiva Goswami is only my shelter. And absorbed in these ecstatic symptoms of love, Srinivasa, he walked down the road leading to Vrindavana. He was unaware of whether it was day or night, and when he arrived, he relished the transcendental beauty of Sri Vrindavan Dhama, which is full of spiritual gems. And he chanted, "O Govinda, O Gopinath," as he walked, experiencing the beauty of transcendental abode of the earthly Vrindavana. Now, when he saw from a distance the disc and flag on top of Govinda temple, Govinda Deva temple, Srinivasa, he became totally agitated, and tears of love glided down his cheeks, and his anxiety to see Govinda's lotus feet increased. And then he reached the temple during the Aarti ceremony, and the sounds of the musical instruments made the atmosphere very, very pleasing. And Srinivasa then stood behind the attending devotees and guests, and he was looking at Govinda Deva's beauty, and tears of love continued to fall from his eyes as he offered his obeisances to Lord Govinda Dev, and then slowly moved forward through the crowd. Srinivasa was so jubilant to see Lord Govinda Dev that he immediately composed 8 verses glorifying the Lord's transcendental qualities, and completely merged in an ocean of love for Lord Govinda Dev. Srinivasa fell unconscious by the left side of the temple's entrance. Now news spread of a newcomer's arrival in Vrindavan, At that time, Jiva Goswami happened to come there to offer his obeisances to Lord Govinda Dev. Sri Rupa Goswami had already informed him of Srinivasa's imminent arrival. So, having heard of a newcomer lying unconscious by the temple door, Jiva Goswami and a few others, they took lamps to find him. They found him where he had fallen. Then Jiva Goswami could immediately understand that Srinivasa was deeply immersed in ecstatic love for the Godhead. So, with the help of his companions, he took him home. And by midnight, Srinivas had still not regained external consciousness. And a little later, Jiva Goswami heard noises in Srinivasa's throat and understood that his trance was breaking. He touched Srinivasa's body gently. Then Srinivasa finally regained his consciousness and awoke while chanting Govinda, Govinda, and his body was soaked with his own tears. And Jiva Goswami said that, tell me your name and awaken my happiness. He said, my name is Srinivasa and I am born in a Brahmana family in Chakhandi. Now, Sri Jiva Goswami immediately embraced Srinivasa and said, my dear friend, Lord Gauranga is certainly an ocean of mercy, for he has sent me such a jewel like you. The Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are also compassionate, for they have given wealth to a poor soul like me. The next morning, Jiva Goswami took Srinivasa to Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami in accordance with the Lord's desire. And Srinivasa then offered his obeisances to Goswami from a distance. Then he said, my name is Srinivasa, I am a Brahmana. I am from a Brahmana family in Chakhandi. Kindly give me your shelter at your lotus feet. And then Gopala Bhatta Goswami said that please come here close, and I am too old to come to you, and I am glad to finally meet you. Srinivasa came closer and again offered his humble obeisances to Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who patted his back. And Srinivasa took the dust from Gopala Bhatta Goswami's feet and placed it on his head. And he said that I feel terrible pain because of the sudden disappearance of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. I have only bones remaining in my body. No one but you can save me. Please forgive me for delay in coming to you. I had wanted to study Srimad Bhagavatam with Gadadhar Pandita, so I went to see him at Nilachala. However, his Srimad Bhagavatam, which bears Lord Chaitanya's signature, was old and was eaten by insects. It was too difficult to read it. Consequently, he instructed me to go to Bengal and bring him a new Srimad Bhagavatam from Narahari Thakur. He also gave me a letter to that effect. Unfortunately, on my way to Nilachal, I received the shocking news that Gadadhar Pandita had departed from this world. This was just unbearable, so I went back to Navadvipa to have darsana of Vishnu Priya Devi. She sent me to Santipura, and from there I went to Padadaha, where I met Jannava Mata, who showed me great affection and ordered me to see Viram Thakur before leaving for Vrindavana. But all the great personalities I met, Vishnu Priya Devi, Jannava Mata, Viram Thakur, they ordered me to come to Vrindavana immediately. But I am most unfortunate. I neither see the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu nor Advaita Prabhu, and my life is totally useless. I am unable to describe. The author says that Srinivasa Acharya's lamentation cannot be described by mere words. Now, next, what happened once on an auspicious day, Srinivasa and Jiva Goswami again went to see Gopal Bhatta Goswami, taking with them the Tulasi Manjaris and the flower garlands. And after offering his obeisances to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srinivasa humbly submitted. He said that Krishna Chaitanya is the spiritual master of the whole world. His teachings are incomparable and applicable to all the living entities, and Rupa and Sanatana have recorded these instructions in their books. I wish to be initiated into these teachings. I kindly become my instructor and save me. Only my desire is to become your humble servant. Then Gopal Bhatta Goswami took Srinivasa Acharya before his deity of Sri Radha Raman, and together they offered their obeisances to the Lord. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami then sat on the asana in front of the deities and called Srinivasa, who came there, sat down onto his left facing east. And Srinivasa's heart was filled with extraordinary ecstasy as he grabbed hold of Gopala Bhatta Goswami's lotus feet and completely surrendered himself as his eternal servant. Then Gopal Bhatta Goswami told Srinivasa Acharya to wash his hands and to meditate on Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, with folded hands. He also told him to meditate on Sri Radha, who was standing by Krishna's left side. He then ordered Srinivasa to worship Sri Radha Krishna as well as the gopis headed by Lalita and Visakha and the Manjaris, and by offering them flowers and garlands and sandalwood pulp. he then he then informed Srinivasa of the exalted positions, the transcendental qualities and services of the numerous gopis and manjaris, and disclosed to him that he was made servant of the gopis. He then made Srinivasa worship Sri Radha Ramana once again. And after Srinivasa had offered sandalwood pulp and tulasi manjaris to Sri Radha and Krishna, Radha Ramana's lotus feet, Gopal Bhatta Goswami placed his right hand on his head while chanting the holy name of Krishna, and thus initiated him into the Radha Krishna mantras along with the Kamabija Gayatri mantra. He then taught Srinivasa how to count the mantras on his fingers while chanting. You should chant these mantras with utmost care and attention. Your spiritual form is that of Mani Manjari. Srinivasa Acharya was Mani Manjari in Krishna's pastimes. And he told that you are under the care of, and guidance of Guna Manjari. Guna Manjari is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And you should always serve Sri Radha and Krishna under your group leader's guidance. And this is how one performs Raganuga Bhajana. And as Rupa Goswami has confirmed in his books, the principal criteria for achieving perfection in the path of devotional service is to develop intense eagerness to attain Sri Radha Krishna's service. And when a person practices sadhana, we call him a practitioner in devotional service. On the Raganuga platform, one takes direct shelter of a resident of Braja. There are 64 limbs of devotional service, and in the course of cultivating the devotional service, one must carefully guard against unfavorable circumstances. One must always render devotional service to the Lord favorably. One should also carefully guard against committing offenses at the lotus feet of the feet of Bhakti Devi. And if one deviates from this process, then all of his endeavors will be futile. A banyan tree is small, but it grows, banyan seed is small, but it grows gradually until one day it becomes a huge giant tree. Similarly, one may deviate from his devotional service to commit small offenses, but such deviation will gradually lead him to ruination. Be careful never to blaspheme the demigods or give distress to any living entities. In this way, always engage yourself in offering devotional service. When you study the scripture carefully, you will learn that whatever I have told you is true. If you wish to become perfect in spiritual life, simply worship Radha and Krishna in the association of devotees and always carefully guard against committing these offenses. And thousands of mouths could not describe the mercy Srinivasa Acharya received from Gopal Bhatta Goswami on this day. And he gave him the essence of all the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. With this, I conclude today's session. The next session will start with Lokanath Goswami and Bhugara Goswami visiting Vrindavan, and thereafter we'll study how the books, rather we'll study about Narottam Das Goswami, Narottam Das Thakura, and then thereafter we'll see how the Goswami books they were taken to Bengal from Vrindavan and how they got lost. That is the best part of the story we'll see later on. So I now close this session today. Now we can have comments and we can discuss about questions. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। सो
दंडवत
वंडरफुल
प्रणाम।
क्लास प्रभु जी। लास्ट में जो भी पार्ट आपने गोपाल भट्ट गोस्वामी जी ने उन्होंने दीक्षा देते हुए सब कहा, वो जैसे लग रहा था हमें कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये जो सारी इंस्ट्रक्शन जो है वो हमें भी बहुत अच्छे से पालनी है। ऑफेंस नहीं करना है, चैंटिंग अच्छे से करनी है, राधा कृष्ण की सेवा करनी है। बहुत अच्छी इंस्ट्रक्शन जो एकदम मगज में आ गई प्रभु जी। थैंक यू सो मच।
Yes. These are the
We
instructions.
have to be very careful about offenses and all.
Yes.
Yes, प्रभु जी गोपाल श्रीनिवास आचार्य जो है वो रघुनाथ दास गोस्वामी जी और रघुनाथ भट्ट गोस्वामी को नहीं मिले थे वृंदावन में?
Raghunath Das Goswami.
हाँ प्रभु जी।
Raghunath Das Goswami also he will meet, and that thing is also there. We will come to that. Come
Okay,
to that
Prabhuji.
later on.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So, any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so nice class and many details, but we see how Srinivas, Acharya, his life and the struggle he took it, various places just to get the knowledge, and he wanted to learn Srimad Bhagavatam Gada, so he could not do, and then how his struggle and life. But we see the devotion, as you Prabhuji mentioned so nicely, that when you see pick up Govindaji, I think he lost all that, right? So see the emotions, that is those are the emotions we feel, but I don't feel that, but look at the feelings they develop just by looking at the like a peak, right, on the top of that temple. So nice, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. As we see, the love of God comes to them automatically. For us, it does not come automatically. It has to be done forcefully, and someday it will come automatically. So that is what is the difference between those. As we know, he was Guna Manjari, he was Rati Manjari. That means they are the permanent, eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. Then they take part in various activities, various leelas. So that is what is the difference. Thank you.
Very, very nice story, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained. बहुत interesting लगी.
Thank you. Now I'll answer one question. What Raksha Mata? Okay, yes, Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhu. I just wanted to clarify one point. You said first Lord Nityananda disappeared in one deity. Which was that deity? One was Bankaraya, the last one, when he left. Then one was in Khadaha, is it?
This second one is Bankaraya.
The first one is Khadadaha, is it? The one in Khadadaha? When he was...
Khadadaha. Yes. You want to ask which was the deity in Khadadaha?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just check my notes. I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Raksha Mataji earlier had one question. When what was the time frame in which the Goswamis that disappeared in relation to Nityananda Prabhu and the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I will answer that today. Last time I didn't answer because she was not there. Now, as we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in 1486 and he stayed in this material world for 48 years. In 48th year, he disappeared from this material world. That means 1532 or 33 he left. 1486 means 1434, 33, 1533 he left. Then regarding Sanatan Goswami, he left in 1558. And Rupa Goswami, he left in 1564. And Jiva Goswami, he was the last, he left in 1598. Gopal Bhatt Goswami, he left in 1578. Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, he left Raghunath Raghunath Das Goswami left in 1571. Like this, that means the last one, last Goswami who remained was Jiva Goswami. As we know, Jiva Goswami was the youngest of all. He was the nephew of Rupa and Sanatana. That's how they left. And Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Prabhu, they took instructions from Jiva Goswami. And they will learn, they left from Vrindavan in 1558. The same year, just a few days before Srinivasa Acharya, he reached Vrindavana, Sanatan Goswami had disappeared. And Rupa Goswami also had disappeared by then. That's what we learn from here. But if you read different books, they give different years and you will be totally confused. It is very difficult to know which figures, which facts are correct. The appearance and disappearance years in almost each and every book, the figures they differ. So this is how it is. Any other question or comment?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other question or comment? Okay, if there are no questions or comments, then we can conclude today's class with the Nrsimha prayers.
प्रभु इन कमिंग क्लासेस, अपकमिंग क्लासेस वीरचंद्र प्रभु के बारे में आएगा, वसुधा माता के नित्यानंद प्रभु जी के बेटे का, उनके बारे में आएगा?
नहीं, so I told you, but his name will come in many incidents. The next time, what we will learn, that I already told you. This is about Bhugarga Goswami and Lokanath Goswami, how they came to Vrindavan and what did they do. Then we will go back to again Srinivasa Acharya and then Narottam Das Thakur.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Any other question or comment? If there are no questions and comments, we can conclude today's class with the Nrsimha prayers.
Prabhuji, may I do?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladaladaine. Praladaladaine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. हिरण्यकशिपु पक्षः शीलाटङ्का नखालाये शीलाटङ्का नखालाये इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा बहिर्नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा बहिर्नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नाखा अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलित हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय हो नरसिंहदेव 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 जय हो नरसिंहदेव जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा भगवान की जय हो भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय हो सट गोस्वामी की जय हो श्रीनिवास आचार्य की जय हो हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे धन्यवाद प्रणाम टू ऑल डिवोटीज थैंक यू सो मच
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Thank you, all the devotees. All glories to all the devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. And then tomorrow we'll have class on Haridas Thakur by Raksha Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा
Thank
प्रभु
you.
जी
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.